To rise as both sides refusing to accept any sort of a ceasefire. So for more on the latest, I want to bring in ABC's international affairs correspondent Hamish McDonald, who is standing by in Jerusalem. And Hamish, I want to talk about these drones for a minute there. The one that was shot down unarmed. What kind of capabilities does Hamas have on these armed drones?
Well, whether or not these were armed, I think, is not really the point. Hamas is trying to show that it has the ability to do more than what it has been able to do in the past, and they've shown that very effectively with these drones. You might describe them as a PR stunt, given that they've effectively had no real impact and that Israel has been able to take them out fairly successfully. I think we can understand what Hamas and the Qassam brigades are trying to do more by the social media impact that they have in the aftermath of sending them up. And that is posting these images and videos online of Hamas and Qassam brigades drones, a flock of birds as they describe them, flying over Israel, claiming that the images show one of the drones with weapons attached to it flying over the Israeli Defense Ministry. Those sorts of things are significant because part of this is about the message, part of it is about the psychological warfare. When you think about the fact that Hamas and its associated militant organizations in Gaza have launched all of these missiles out of the strip, all of these rockets rather, out of the strip and into Israel, and yet not a single death has been incurred as a result of them. It really is much more about the message and the threat that they pose. You can cause fear amongst the population of Israel without necessarily causing death.
Well, where is Hamas getting this equipment? Where's this firepower coming from?
Well, different parts of its arsenal come from different places. For example, the new longer range rockets that they've been sending out, we believe either come from Syria or Iran, but using Chinese blueprints. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Chinese have anything to do with this. It's just that those blueprints were on license to both Syria and Iran, and the belief is that that's where they have come from. Additionally, these drones, as Hamas is calling them at the moment, appear to be homemade effectively. So they're proving very versatile at creating fear amongst the Israeli population by using weaponry, by displaying their arsenal and its reach way beyond where they've been able to in the past.
What about Israel's movements? Because forces went into Gaza this weekend. Is that any kind of an indication that the Israeli army could be moving into Gaza soon for a ground incursion?
Well, they're certainly prepared for it. There's no indication that they're about to do it definitively, but certainly what we've seen in the last week is the mounting ground forces on the edges of Gaza driving along the border of the Strip over the last few days. We've seen a significant increase in the number of Israeli troops as well as tanks being lined up, heavy machinery moving in to clear access routes as well. Tens of thousands of Israeli reservists have been called up. Around 40,000 of them have reported for duty. The cabinet has been requesting approval for more troops, has received that as well. So certainly they have everything in place if they were to decide to conduct a full ground operation, but it appears that decision has not yet been taken. That could of course change if, for example, one of these rockets that's being launched out of Gaza were to land a hit, as it were, in, for example, Tel Aviv. Every day the rockets fire in that direction, but the Iron Dome defense system takes them out. It intercepts them very effectively. If that weren't the case, if one of them did land in a populated area, did cause deaths, then that might be the tipping point. But certainly at this point, there's no indication that they're doing anything other than these very small raids, using things like commandos to go in and take out a particular point of operation for the militants and then get back out. The risk, obviously, if they send in large numbers of ground forces, is kidnap. What they don't want is to give the opportunity to the militants operating in the Gaza Strip to seize any Israeli soldiers and hold them and then try to enter into a period of negotiation to exchange prisoners. That's what they don't want, and that clearly becomes a much greater risk if they send ground forces in.